This is the first man on the moon, and it's been over 50 years ago. Since then, the moon was basically empty. But NASA has recently made plans to go to the moon again. How? Well, there's this program called the Artemis program. Their goal? To get the first woman to step on our small little thingy circling the Earth in the year 2024. Yeah, you heard 2024. Don't get too excited because they already have delayed the plan to the year 2025, so no fun this year. Their initial plan is called the Artemis program, and yes, it's divided into missions. So when is this happening? In fact, Artemis 1 has already happened 2 years ago, on November 16th exactly. What they did? Well, they sent this spacecraft called Orion to orbit Moon. Yeah, that's about it. To prepare, apparently. The whole mission lasted for a little more over 25 days, cost almost 28 million, and that was about it. Artemis 2 is where the real fun begins. This time we'll actually see the people going to the moon. Originally, the liftoff was gonna happen this year already, but they unfortunately decided to delay it because of the various hardware issues. So when are we gonna finally see the people orbiting the moon? You heard right, orbiting the moon. Artemis 2 mission wasn't meant to be for the moon landing yet, but hey, at least it's something, right? NASA is gonna send 4 astronauts on a flyby of the moon and then return to Earth. But hey, at least this time we got a woman who's going too. By the way, Artemis 2 mission is not gonna happen earlier than September 25th of 2025. So when's the actual moon landing, you ask? Well, that's where Artemis 3 comes in. In this mission, we're actually gonna see people land on the moon again. So what exactly will Artemis 3 bring? First of all 4 astronauts will be going to the moon with Starship HLS. What is Starship HLS, you ask? Well, that's a lunar lander variant of the Starship spacecraft that will land them on the moon. But what exactly is this Starship at all? Well, it's a spacecraft designed by SpaceX. Wait, does that mean that Elon is collabing with NASA? Technically yes, but he hasn't really succeeded yet. Let me just say, this happened just recently. Anyway, when that's fixed, NASA will try to send those astronauts on the 30-day mission to explore the moon. In that time, they'll be going to a series of moonwalks and exploring the surface of the moon, exploring rocks and more scientific things, get the samples, etc. After that 30 days is done, they'll return back to the Earth. NASA says that Artemis 3 will be one of the most complex undertakings of engineering and human integrity in the history of deep space exploration to date. The astronauts' observation samples and the data collected will expand our understanding of our solar system and home planet while inspiring the next generation. So when we'll be able to watch this live on TV? The estimated date is around September 26th of 2026, but it'll probably get delayed as well, as we've seen with Artemis 2 already. There'll be more than just one moon landing. The 4th mission wants to send people to the moon again. The date is said to be at 2027. During that time, the astronauts will also dock with a thing called the Lunar Getaway. What is a Lunar Getaway? It's gonna be the first extraterrestrial space station placed in the lunar orbit. They'll be starting at 2025. Imagine it as the ISS we know today, but in the moon orbit. Yeah, basically that. A place where astronauts can stay for longer. Artemis 4, as NASA calls it, will basically deliver 2 modules called PPE and Halo to start assembling the getaway, and will start the lunar ISS. Those 2 modules will get the astronauts food and water so they can actually survive. Of course, the GSS won't be as big as the ISS is, they'll just have that essential needs for the astronauts. After that, Artemis 5 will also happen and will allegedly deliver 4 astronauts to the by then already built Getaway Space Station, or GSS, and that's gonna happen in 2029. They'll get themselves a lunar terrain vehicle as well, which is just gonna be a moon rover. Now you may be wondering, why are they doing all of this? The answer is simple. NASA and Elon all want to get to Mars. With the Artemis program as a whole, they're basically preparing themselves for later trips to Mars. NASA even says that after Getaway, they'll expand it and build the actual Artemis base camp. Okay, but how will they make it? Remember that lunar rover I was talking about earlier? Well, now it'll come handy with driving the parts around the moon and placing them down. Apparently with the base camp, the astronauts could stay on the moon for 2 whole months. With all of that, the astronauts will have the full connection with Earth as they have with the ISS now. Okay, but what are they gonna do now that they can be there for like 2 months? Well, they can collect different resources, and with the new technologies, they'll become less dependent on Earth's water. Yeah, and there's oxygen too apparently. Point is that the moon provides similar environment that Mars does, so they could potentially use this knowledge for trips to Mars. We still gotta acknowledge that the distance from Mars to Earth is like a bazillion the distance from Moon to Earth, so their challenges are definitely not gonna be as easy for NASA. Anyways, that's gonna be it for this video, and only time will tell what the world is capable of doing, right?